Good morning. Good morning. Morning. And there we go. Now I'm here. Welcome to the Poetry Studio, number 162. I don't know if there's any special significance for that number. I might do something just a little different this time in terms of making, adjusting the description, making sure that people that might be thinking about tuning in know what we're kind of doing. I have here a collection of poems on my desk, and I haven't really decided which one I'm going to go after. There's one that incorporates Cuba, the Confederate War, and coronavirus. There's one that we've done before, which is the one about the flag that needs a little bit of adjusting. And then there's a horror poem that I just can't get into the place where I want it to be. Cherry Hazelnuts is here. Good morning. Telemonian Dan and Fool Killer in the house. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being part of the community. I am still trying to figure out what I want to write. That's where I'm at. At least I kind of planned a little more beforehand instead of kind of like, I need to figure out what I'm writing. Part of me thinks that I want to get this this flag poem together. Have a good time with that. Kind of wrap that one up, to say the least. I have to say the music transitioned pretty well this morning. How are you all doing? How are your mornings going? How are they going creatively? How are they going emotionally, mentally, spiritually even? Flag poem, yes, says Cherry Hazelnuts. Yes. Let's do it. Now, it's not going to be a big... Well, actually, we could probably set a poll for this, but let me get the flag poem done, because it's probably not going to be a long thing, and then we could decide among the others which one I would tackle. I need to find paper. Here's paper. Well, I am not going to read it to start, because I'll probably end up rereading it later on. But for those that might have been here last time I was working on the flag poem, it's about, basically, there's the flag, kind of being the ideal of a nation, and then our rough work in the weeds. The first two stanzas are pretty good. There's a word I have to add into the section here, but I'm aware of that. And then we have over here. Here, I went and reviewed my first draft. And the thing is so I come to this conclusion at the end of the poem that despite all the craziness, that the constellation of stars, which is kind of like, representative of something far greater of an ideal than even the country is going to last longer than we are, And so, like, even if, it's funny, even if the quote that we used was, even if America isn't America, America will still continue, like, in some sort of way. Like, it's something like that. But reviewing the first draft, I realized that I brought this to a writer's group, the first draft of this poem, not this one that I'm holding now. And they want this to be crystal clear. Like they said, that would make the poem really click. So the goal is to really clean up that third stanza. And the cool thing about doing stanzas in poetry, which I'm not really a stanza person, to be perfectly honest, Emily Dickinson takes the cake on that. Having stanzas makes it so much easier to edit a poem because you have your section. It's like, okay, well, that section's good, and then that section's not good, and then that section's good, and so that they can kind of isolate it. And that's what I'm going to be working on today. I'm probably going to be retyping section 2 and section 3, just so we can get that right word in there. Because I also had some other trouble with some of the second section, but not much. Cherry Hazelnut says there's a noisy storm disturbing me enough to make a burger at 4 a.m. Well, I'm really sorry to hear that. I hope the storm of keys will be a little more of a ring to your ear. That was silly. That was very silly. I'm sorry, guys. I love making the bell ring on purpose. I'm going to be honest. I do it on the street sometimes when I'm waiting for customers to come up. People will be walking by, and I'll just go, bing. And this one is a nice bell. Yeah, I'm pretty impressed with the bell, this one. It doesn't have a nice margin setting, so it's kind of rough. Fool Killer is reading the Bible and moving on to poetry right now. I think that's a good combination. I feel like it's something good for someone, as long as you are a believer and you care about that type of thing. I think it's very good for people to read at least try to read chunks of the Bible at a certain point in their life, because it's very telling how the book reads when you go straight. I started with Genesis, and then I moved to Exodus, and then I think it was like the book of Numbers when they're measuring what the temple should be, or what the Ark of the Covenant's tent should be, and I hit this wall. Like I couldn't get through it. Then I went back and I read the entirety of the Acts of the Apostles, and that was my favorite. Going to church every Sunday had given me most of the Gospels, so I wasn't too confused about that. And then Telemony Dan said he's just woke up, so I'm sitting with a cup of hot tea. Tea is extremely underrated, and I'm going to be getting more into tea in my life, I have decided. If you do tea on a regular basis, I would love to get more info on what you do for tea. I just find that it has, like, the caffeine effect is more oral. It's like an aura. Like it's very the metaphor I would use is extremely metaphorical, is that caffeine from coffee is like a bullet, and caffeine from tea is like a cloud. I don't know if that makes sense. But that deserves its own poem. But that's not what I'm doing right now. By the way, shout out to increased stream quality. Yesterday I was able to adjust some of the settings. Before yesterday's stream I was able to adjust some of the settings. We now have a higher quality stream. This little $300 laptop that I use to run the whole thing is doing great. I'm fascinated at how easy it was to get this whole thing set up. LJ Gibbons is here. If I had caffeine, I never sleep. So I have it if I'm under the weather. I think that's pretty smart. I've realized that one cup of coffee that I have at the most every other day can help me focus and bash through some tasks. And I have to have it in the morning. And I have to, but if I have it every day, then I start getting down when I skip it. Because I get acclimated real quickly to it. I'm doing a lot of talking and not a lot of poetry. I already messed it up. we go. We got a bell. Tomoni Dan says, I don't do tea. I just heat water on the stove, add a tea bag, and let it sleep. Nothing fancy. I'm kind of interested in doing tea. I would say is my response to that. Is I'm kind of interested in getting more into it. Fool Killer says 1 cup of coffee will hold him over for months. Well, that's good. So we were discussing hot beverages this morning. I love cocoa, and I think that white hot cocoa is underrated. That's something that I don't know if that's a controversial opinion, but I definitely think that white hot cocoa is underrated. Cherry Hazelnut says, I've only recently started relying heavily in coffee. I'm struggling with energy, so I need the kick. Does the kick sustain after, like, do you still get the kick every morning, even when you have the coffee every morning? Because I don't think I'd be against having it every morning and becoming a regular coffee drinker, but I'm concerned that it wouldn't kick after a while, that I would just need it to sustain it. Like, I feel a kick when I have it only once in a while. Cherry Hazelnuts is just diving into the coffee addiction. So in the previous iteration of the poem, it said that I was pulling at bloodstained battlefields. I wanted to like give the notion of clawing at the bloodstained. I don't know. I don't want to. I'm trying to think of a good metaphor. Pulled at bloodstained battlefields without giving away. Because we say clawing at the dirt of freedom later on. I think the word pulled is the problematic word. No, but the word is important. Oh, goodness gracious, I'm getting some writer's block. How do you rise each morning? Colors of liberty, claim the sky, LJ Gibbons says, in the early mornings, power all. I think it might be a poem. Yeah, this is a poem. So we need to bring down our music. In the early mornings, power all. Wait, oh, let me be here. In the early mornings, power all warmed from its shower. From the cold floor, I did cower. but I rather that than twist and grind the coal to friction with my foot. I stayed calm in mind and was able to find the way that turned ice to soot. I like it. In the early mornings, power all warmed from its shower. From the cold floor I did cower. But rather than twist and grind the coal to friction with my foot, I stayed calm in mind and was able to find a way that turned ice to soot. Love it. Whoa, what just happened there? Oh, goodness. So one thing I'm doing is I'm kind of testing out these typewriters because they I recently repaired them. This one has a margin. A margin issue. Dastard is that? Cherry Hazelnut says that she likes the word stoic in relation to the flag. Or stoicism. I can see that. I like it. And there are parts of me that, I don't know, I think like I'm trying to approach the flag a little more emotionally in the poem. Like, it's this distant, and I guess it's like it's this distant thing that stands above everything. I could see the stoicism reference. Like, it's kind of a marker for where we want to be. And like, you know, I feel like Marcus Aurelius, God bless him, man, is a very hard to attain level of virtue in a sense. And I think the flag is the same in some ways. Maybe not all the ways, but some of the ways. Margin is still not catching. Whoa. Oh, I'm so glad that you guys read the poem again. I was able to send LJ a picture of his son's poem, finally. And I like that. The tallest building in the world is made taller by a flag, though the pole is not calculated by the engineers. If you're just tuning in, we are doing poetry about the flag. Thank you so much if you decide to stick around. I do believe, I'm trying to get everything in focus just a little more. I think that what you're saying, Cherry Hazelnuts, about stoicism is interesting because it might help me unlock what I'm trying to say here. Because I have to kind of so the whole point of a poem, whole point of any good literature is that you show don't tell. It's one of the oldest rules. So I thought I was showing, not telling, and they said, well, you're not showing anything. And what I changed it to was confidence, but it still doesn't, I think, explain why. Why does the constellation last past our confusion? And I gotta allude to it. And I think I have a way. Okay, got it. So, Cherry Hazelnuts is interested in me reading what I have so far. For this stanza, what I have here, and I want to read the whole poem together at once when I finish writing it. But I think I caught it. Storms are still coming, fiery rockets flaring, blinding us to your field of stars. But in a flash of lightning and tracer, I see reflecting something about persistence. It still doesn't show. I don't know. I'm gonna keep chipping away at this. This one is coming along painfully. Thank you everybody so much for being here. Appreciate your presence. Rhyming dictionary, rhyming dictionary. See, this is one of those times I need, like, my special poet's thesaurus, because I need a word that rhymes with martyr that represents purity. There's a lot here. Yeah, limited to 500 matches. Thank you. Garter, little too, no, not like that. That's getting, no. So, Forever Reese, welcome to the channel, says, so the topic is Old Glory, how it withstands the strain of time. Yes, and the particular point that I've hit is that I am writing verse about, there's one verse that you can't see here, which is about how it does, how it does persist. And then I write about how we are so distant from it, and how could such a thing like this persist when we are so distant from it in terms of the reality versus the idealism, and then I kind of close it in the end. And the close is what I'm having trouble with. There we go. I hit it. Man, this poem just, like, went up a level. Yeah, this poem just leveled up. Level up, level up. All right, cool. So, let's read this. And Cherry Hazelnuts mentioned that she used to purchase and lend out loads of hip-hop urban rhyming dictionaries when I was a librarian for the incarcerated. That's awesome. I think that... God bless, because that's really good, because when people that are dealing with that type of thing are need some way to be able to express the pain that they're feeling, and thank goodness for rhyming dictionaries. Alrighty. So this is the final product of Old Glory. You guys have seen this stream, the second and third verses. I feel like the poem has kind of increased in capacity with this. It still needs some help, but I think that this would be enough for me to bring to my writers group. Old Glory. You have survived winds of time like hurricanes, tearing at your fibers, and this is enough of a miracle. Cloud height persistence of red, white, blue, contrasting and weaving together, apart, tapestry of the dream. How do you rise each morning, colors of liberty claiming the sky, flagpoles pushed by coarse hands, soldier hands towards the sun, these fingers pulling at your string, pulling above blood-stained battlefields, pulling chains of slaves, lines for bread, the stones cornering our towering monuments, and skyscrapers, the subway turnstile. We reach, we stumble, we climb towards your waving, flying firmament. Storms are still coming, fiery rockets flaring, blinding us to your field of stars. And here's the new part. But in the flash of lightning and tracer, I see reflecting how we are still believing, still dreaming with the waving cloth persisting, white with the purity of ardor, red with the blood of the martyr. And even in fits of darkness, I know that your constellation will last past our confusion, soaring above as we claw at the dirt of freedom. And so the answer to the question of why does the flag persist, which actually is something that in several iterations of drafts, the poem never answered. It's because people still believe in it. And I think that's the key, is that you know, people that are on the ground, even the people that are the flawed people, they still believe in the dream. And if you have that, at least you can keep everything else going. Thank you, Cherry Hazelnuts. I appreciate it. I appreciate your kind words. I appreciate everybody's help. And I think that Telmoni and Dan, I think Ardor worked better than Garter, and I was able to work in some other stuff here. Cherry Hazelnut says, you stuck in a little rhyme, but not too much. And I think the great thing about free verse is that you choose when to rhyme. It's not that you don't rhyme. It's that you play around with the words, and then you also create a rhythm of it. The purity of ardor to the blood of the martyr is also a rhythmic phrase. Fred Rees says, firmament, such a great word. Also, the stars being referenced as a form of constellation is great. Thank you so much for your kind words, and I'm glad that it seems to be clicking with you guys, because then it might click with my writers group. And so the next thing I need to do is just take the two things and put them together. And look at this. What I'll have to do. Oh, I know. Garter. Free verse, yes. I mean, I'll call you free verse, Frev verse. That's basically what you are. Are you a poet on Twitch, Frev verse? How did you find the channel? It's so good to see you here. I wish that there were more poets on Twitch. It would be a lot of fun to poet with other people. And if there are other poets, then I should know about them. What I'm gonna have to do with this is an exciting thing that I've actually done before, which is I have to actually literally cut and paste. I got the two papers together. Free verse is a spoken word poet, and I would follow you if I could. It's not letting me, but welcome to the channel. I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. I've always wanted to get deeper into spoken word. And it's something that I plan on doing. I even have like a couple of drafts kicking around of some spoken word topics. And I'm really excited to get more deeper into them. So I think that's great. Awesome. Welcome to the channel, another poet. And if you have any recordings or anything like that, we'd love to celebrate you here. We're big on celebrating poets. As you heard me reading some of L.J. Gibbons' stuff before. My email will show up at the end of the stream, unless we do a raid. And you can email me any of your stuff, and I'd be glad to promote it on the stream, if that's something you feel comfortable doing, of course. I never want to strong arm anybody to sharing their stuff. But I love the idea of sharing and spreading the art. So, we have 10 minutes left. What do I got here? I have... Oh, you're hosting a free workshop for teens who like spoken word? Yeah, cherry hazelnuts, whisper me. There's a group locally that I am connected with in Winchester that would, what do you call it? There's a group that I'm connected with locally. It's a bunch of, I'm not saying words. It is a nonprofit that's dedicated to promoting more creative writing work among students, and I'm sure they would love to know more about that, and they might even be able to connect some local students to that. So if you are interested, whisper me. That's really cool. Then let me just drop my email in the chat for everybody. It's 8:03, we got a crowd. I think we should write a new poem because I don't have time to work through any of the drafts that are sitting here on my desk. I think these will all each take a stream at least. So, let's get a topic together. Or I could put some topics in a poll and we could decide what we want a poem on. Does anybody, you don't need to redeem channel points for this one. Does anybody want a poem? Does anybody want me to write something random? Crazy. I could even just go ahead and just start milling away based off of the what we've celebrated in the chat today. Garters and coffee and spoken word, stoicism. It's one problem with this typewriter. It's so big, so god awfully big. I love it. The typewriter I'm using today is a 1956 Olympia SG1 with a brand new platen, aka roller, with fresh rubber. Don't make any jokes. It is a fantastically performing machine, except for the fact that it has margin issues. It also has some really interesting features, which I might be able to show you guys as I delay from. This one should work. One second. No, it's not working. All right. This is supposed to create a double space effect, but it didn't. That's an odd combination, says Tomoni and Dan. Coffee, garters, stoicism, and spoken word. You don't think I could do it? Is that what you're saying? Are you suggesting that I am not able to manage to come up with a poem that incorporates all of those things together? Well, I think that I think I can. I think I can. Challenge accepted, indeed. And actually, now that I'm thinking about this, that's pretty hard. I think garters is the outlier. Odd combination: coffee, garters, stoicism, and spoken word. Oh no, no! This is just. I mean, I don't claim that this is going to be a great poem. I'm just going to hack all this together. I got this. I'm on a roll here. I just need to. Oh goodness, the word I am looking for is. It must be an extremely complicated word. It's. I love this song. It's like. And it's gotta be it's like inappropriate, but it's like the word inappropriate, but it's not inappropriate. Like it's gotta be like so it's so insinuative. Oh yeah, absolutely. Free verse. Go ahead. Throw some verse together and have fun with it. What is... Oh, I think I have a word. It might work. I'm not trying to be overtly inappropriate, but if we have any kids... no, I want it. I am looking upwards. No. I'm gonna just throw something in there. It's not the best word. I want to make sure you guys can all still see. Sherry says, I like anything inappropriate. Well, this is actually attempting to be a family-friendly stream. But the implication was there. Oh goodness, there is a word that I need now. Okay, it's like this is a big morning for words. So if you guys know this, there's actually a name. We have Twitch here. Alex has gone ahead and redeemed. Today, I am not. Okay, so a lot of things are happening at once. So first thing I want to say is that there is a word that, and I'm going to look it up on my computer in a sec, or my phone probably. There is a word to describe the type of language, the type of accent that newscasters use. If you notice that newscasters, they use a certain monotone language, a certain monotone accent across the board, whether you're watching the news in the north, in the south, in the east, in the west, in the Pacific Northwest, in the Northeast. There's a word for it. I remember learning about this once. Now, Twitcher Alex has redeemed one of our rewards, which is that is he wearing pants? Because sometimes I do show up to the stream only in shorts. Today, I'm wearing jeans. These are my jeans. There you go, Twitcher Alex. All right, newscasters accents. That's it. There we go. It's according to something General American. Let me see if I got it all. Ginger Alex says one of these days it'll be worth it. I'll tell you, it was close this morning. This morning was a mess. Coffee, garter, stoicism, spoken word, they've all been hit. I think that it's extremely fitting that this instrumental came on as we're finishing this poem, because I think that's the theme that kind of came out of this. There we go. And we also, so happening at the same time concurrently, Free Verse is also doing his spontaneous poem. Yeah, so the theme of waking up kind of stuck with me, because I figured I compared, and not all sleep is dreamless, but in this situation I kind of made that metaphor. I'll go ahead and read mine. I gotta make sure to stare at this camera. I'm still staring at my computer and not this camera. Ugh, goodness. So I will read mine, and then by that point, I think Free Verse will be done with his, and then we'll be able to compare. I'm excited to see his. Unless you want me to wait, Free Verse, what would you like me to do? I'll follow your lead on this. I don't want to disturb your flow if you're working on something right now. I will go ahead and read mine. So mine is The Motion of Emotion. Also, I would probably entitle it Waking. We start in the invisible contemplation of sleep, steady as a ship, sharp and stoic, dreamless in the deep blue of night. But we are awoken from the marriage bed of chastity and immodesty, with the lace of sunbeams through the blinds, and a voice wrapping around our haloed head, along our legs and arms, the words of radio, of song, of word into poetry, heralding the still to unstill. Even the newscaster has his melody, a general American tune that sings like the fulfillment of civilization. And before eyes open, before they taste the work of dirt, ground beans of life, a smile escapes those lips, that we're able once again to laugh, cry, rejoice in the play of the world, emoting along with us. So moving from the Stoic sleep, the reference to the garter, down to the spoken word alarm, and the ground beams of life. I think it hit all the points. Free verse says, you and I had similar mindsets on these words. And that's okay, LJ. Don't worry about timing with dropping poetry in the chat. I want to see. So, how do you want to do this, Free verse? Do you want to? Okay, here we go. 3 stanzas. 3 stanzas. Man. See, that's the one. I think my weakness is stanzas. I am impressed. Let's see what he has to say, and his spoken word. And I will attempt to do it as much justice as it comes in. I want to wait for all 3 stanzas to be in here. And then we'll go back to LJ's. So this is, I don't know if you have a title for it, but this is Free Verse's interpolation of Garter. It was Garter, Stoicism, spoken word, and coffee. Far be it from me to know when the sun crests a newly threshed meadow, across from the window, nearby blacked out by satin drapes. Goodness, I'm going to start again. Let me start again. I messed that one up. Far be it from me to know when sun crests a newly threshed meadow, across from the window, near blacked out by satin drape. Satin. Goodness, what's going on with me this morning? I'm going to start one more time. 3rd time's a charm. Far be it from me to know when the sun crests a newly threshed meadow, across from the window, nearby, blacked out by satin drapes. But the smell of newly crushed beans brewing over an open fire does find refreshment in my eyes. Darting between dreams of you in that low-waisted garter and what could be the only sustenance I achieve today. Stoic I rise, the thought of you lingers, in a K-Tempest poem, and remember no dreams is needed as you lift the cup to my lips. Oh, that's so cool. That turned at the end. I love that. So cool. And did you do that on mobile? Like, because I'm picking out that there's like some instances where there might be typos. If you did that on mobile, I have to bow to you. That's that because I can't. I mean, like I have a machine. But if you didn't, that's okay. I know you might have been just rushing on the typewriter. LJ has a poetry drop as well. And we're going to read his, and then we'll call it a day because it looks like that Akira the Dawn has just opened up for streaming, and we'll go and rate him. LJ says in his poem, you wrote it on Notepad. I give you credit for that. Great job. Now humans are always born and always continue night to morn. As we move through and are moved by unseen forces, unseen with eyes, unbeknownst to me. Yes, yet I know them well inside me dwell, till they return to heavenly skies. Still I learn how to grow and change with purpose, as life can show. We're dreaming right past obstacles. I have to say, your timing is perfect, LJ, because that kind of is another good poem about kind of the things that both Freeverse and I were writing about. This is amazing. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Shout out to everybody that was in the chat today. If you are watching, please consider following. You could also support the channel. Bits and subscriptions always go a long way. The more people that we have subscribed, the more time I can invest in preparing poems. We can start doing a reading series, things like that. Appreciate, shout out to everybody that was in the chat today. Forcha was here, Fool Killer, Telemonian Dan, Cherry Hazelnuts, LJ Gibbons, welcome back. And newcomer Freeverse, really appreciate you being part of the fun today. This was awesome. We are going to drop in on my favorite DJ, Akira the Don, whose instrumental music is what backs the stream here. If you want to be part of the raid, feel free to stay here. Otherwise, thank you so much and have a wonderful rest of the day yourself. Rock on and keep writing. We'll be back here 7 a.m.-ish tomorrow. This is 7 a.m. EST. I am setting up the raid. And when we come back here tomorrow morning, I will set up a poll in the beginning to work on one of these 3 projects. Oh, thank you so much for the follow, Freeverse. Thank you so much for being here. I have a poem about Twitch writers. I have a horror poem about typewriters, and I have the poem about Cuba and the coronavirus. So we will be able to work on one of those tomorrow. I'm glad that things are kind of getting more traction with this. It's really great to see everybody here. And we are off to raid now. Again, my email, I'm going to drop it in the chat before we go. If you ever need anything, you can whisper me at on Twitch or email me at that email. Thank you again so much and have a wonderful day. And see you in Maz.